Good morning. As you may have guessed, I'm not Guido Voss. He's a lot taller than I am. But I was asked to speak this morning and do a stewardship moment. I'm Sally Bowling. 19 years ago, my husband, Stuart, our then 8-year-old daughter, Abby, and I moved to Topsfield from Salem. Abby and I had been occasional worshipers at Tabernacle Congregational Church in Salem. One day, after we had lived here for about a year, Abby and I were out running errands and we drove by this church. I mentioned something about the church being a congregational church. And Abby jumped in saying, "Mom, we need to start going to church again. I'm already a year behind in Sunday school." Mind you, she was 9 years old. I decided then and there that I'd better get us back into attending church if I didn't want the parent police to be after me. Shortly thereafter, we started coming to this church and have never looked back. When Guido called and asked me to speak about stewardship, I was a bit hesitant. I'm not wild about the idea of telling folks, hey, if you just give up that double half-calf latte cappuccino from Starbucks every day, you could be making a sizable contribution to the church. Then the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I did feel very comfortable explaining why Stuart and I choose to financially support this church. It's actually very simple. We support this church because this church, through all the changes we've seen in the past 19 years, has always supported us. I'm so excited to be speaking on the day when the mission trip folks are going to be doing their presentation, because that's one of the things that has been so important to our family. The youth program here, which I'm so excited has gotten a shot in the arm over the past few years with Amy on board. It helped us to raise a well-adjusted, social justice and values-oriented daughter, who, oh, by the way, learned to sing here by standing on those steps and singing to the pink window. Yep, there's a pink window back there, just as Peter Johnston, the then youth choir director, instructed her. 11 years ago, this church supported me when I ran the Boston Marathon as a fundraiser for our organ restoration project. 9 years ago, Abby was horribly sick and needed emergency surgery. Once Abby had gone into surgery and while I was waiting for Stuart to arrive, I called the church. When prompted, I entered the numbers for a pastoral emergency. Virginia, our associate pastor at the time, answered, and when I told her what was going on, the first words out of her mouth were, "What hospital are you at? I'll be right there to sit with you." Alas, we were 3 hours away in Vermont, so that wasn't possible, but she talked with me and prayed with me, and I didn't feel quite so alone. 4 years ago, this church prayed for us when Stuart's friend and coworker, my mom, Stuart's dad, and my uncle all died within 6 weeks of one another. 1 year ago, when my dad died, Martin was right there supporting my family. Martin and the entire team here worked hard to help us put together an awesome memorial service for him within 5 days of his passing. You may or may not have had the same need for support from this church as we have as a family, but if you have, I'm sure you have received it. And if you haven't, I'm sure at some point you will, and I can assure you, you will get it. So while I don't want to tell you exactly how you should support this church, I will say that I encourage you to support it. Do so in whatever way makes sense for you, your family, and your family's financial situation. You won't regret it. Thank you.